Good morning and welcome to Mama Sue's Kitchen. Today I'm going to go back to an oldie but a goodie. I'm making it for supper tonight, but the reason I'm videoing it is because I still get so many messages about how do you make your crock pot cube steak. So I'm going to show you how easy it is. Let me turn you over here. I've already put some oil in a skillet. I used vegetable oil, but you can use whatever you want. And my cube steak is right there. I've already washed it. This is some cube steak from the beef that we bought. I'm just putting some salt and some pepper on it. That's the only seasoning that I put on it. Okay? Then I just take my cube steak, each piece, and I have some flour in a paper plate. I put it in a paper plate so I can just throw it away. And all I'm doing is just dredging it in the flour. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get another piece and just getting enough flour that we're going to brown the oil and brown the steak in the oil, but I'm not going to cook it until it's done. Just going to brown each side. Okay. We had cube steak one day last month, I think, and we just love it. I think you're going to find when you make this that it is the most tender that you've ever had. I didn't turn that on ahead of time to heat up, but I'm gonna put it in this skillet, and I'm gonna let one side brown. I'm going to flip it over and let the other side brown. And then I'm going to put them in my crock pot that I have a liner in. Y'all, if you're not using liners, get you some, because they save so much on the cleanup. And everybody's sending me message, where do I find the products that you're using? They're on my website, which is MamaSue'sSouthernKitchen.com. On Facebook, I'm Mama Sue's Southern Kitchen, but the website, you add .com. And there's a tab that says products or favorite products. I think that's what it says. All right, I'm thinking that that's hot enough. I'm going to try it and just see. See, I've just got a little flour on each side. Not quite hot enough. If it doesn't sizzle when you put it in there, it's not hot enough. And you want anytime you're frying something, you want your grease to be hot when you put it in there. Y'all, we got some wonderful news. Blake had a huge test yesterday. He had to be sedated for it. They weren't sure that he could hear. You know, I think all of you know he was a preemie, but that's not his problems. His problem is that he has a diagnosis of mosaic trisomy 22. And still not quite hot enough. Let me turn it up. But his little ears did not develop the outside part. On one side, he has just a little lobe, and on the other one, he has most of the ear, but you can't see any of the canals. And they weren't sure he could hear, so they had to do a test. And praise God, they say that he has the inner makings that he'll be able to have, for right now, a little headband with a type of hearing aid on the back. And oh, we're just so thankful. All right, it's seasoned, it's sizzling. So I'm going to add these others. And the reason we're not going to cook them all the way is because I put them in a crock pot and put some soup and broth over it, and then I'll cook them for 4 hours on high. And that's all there is to it. And when they're ready, it's going to have a gravy that is delicious. And they're going to be so tender you won't have to use a knife. You can just cut them up with a fork. But let me wash my hands just a minute and I'll be right back. I'm going to move you a little bit closer. Turn it down now that it has started. Okay, do you see it a little brown on that side? And you can tell because the top part begins, you'll see the little blood start to come to the top of it. But you just want it brown on each side. And then when you do that, you just put them over in the crock pot. And when I get them all done, I will show you what we add to it. You see how brown that is? I think you can. I'm getting used to my tripod, so maybe it's going to help you. I have bought so many things thinking that it was going to help, and it didn't. But I think this is one thing that is going to help. All right, you can tell that it's brown on one side, and I've turned it over, and I'm going to pause it, but I'll be back when I get them all browned and in the crock pot to show you the next step. Okay, I'm back because I want to show you, I'm frying the last pieces, and you see how brown they are? They're not done. I've just browned them on each side. And I'm putting them in the crock pot. And it's okay if some of it comes off. I think somebody asked me this week, does the breading come off? Some of it comes off in the gravy. It does. But the meat is so tender until it doesn't matter. Okay, now let me show you. I'm gonna put this here, turn you around right here so you can see. That's not hot, so I can put this on here. All right, I'm gonna take 1 can of cream of mushroom soup. And 1 can of beef broth. I have to be careful. Let me empty it first. I've already taken the lid off, so I didn't want to spill it. Beef broth. That's the only 2 ingredients. And then I'm going to take, let me turn you so you can see. I'm going to get all of this out because that's still a little cream of mushroom soup. All right. you take a whisk. You need a whisk if you don't have one. And you just whisk it together. See, it's all mixed up. And then I'm going to pour it on top of the cube steak. And it covers the cube steak. I turn my crock pot on high. I've already turned it on high. And I'm going to cook this for 3 to 4 hours on high. That's all there is to it. And when it comes back, when it gets done, I will show you. So I'll be back. Hello, I've come back. This crock pot cube steak has been cooking for 3.5 hours. And I want to show you what it's like when it's done. I'm just going to get out a little saucer. I'm going to bring you over closer so you can see. Okay. You saw it when I put the steak in. Woo, see, it just falls to pieces. See that? And it makes its own gravy. See if you can see it. Y'all, it's so tender you do not need a knife to cut it. It's delicious. Absolutely delicious. And like I said, I've showed you this before. But since I was fixing it tonight, I thought, I'm going to show you again. And that way, you'll see how easy it is. But it's crock pot cube steak. I will post a picture and I will have the recipe on my website, MamaSue'sCountryKitchen.com. Thank you so much for following me. Thank you for your prayers. You know, I pray for y'all too. One of my followers has just had brain surgery. I've been praying for her, but she's back home. I've had some that have other health problems, and when they ask me to pray, I do. I have a notebook by my computer, and I write their names down. But I wanted to give a shout out to an Aunt Yvette. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, but I know that she watches me. And Aunt Yvette, thank you for watching me. But more than anything, I hope that y'all will be salt and light and let others see Jesus in you, because He's our only hope. I'll see you later.